Conference, before September 2013, head teachers had the discretion to allow up to 10 days absence in an academic year in special circumstances, including family holidays, and additional absence in exceptional circumstances. According to government statistics at the time, this discretion led to 0.1% of recorded school sessions being missed for reasons of authorised family holiday. In 2013, on the basis of a single sentence in an anecdotal report by an advisor, Michael Gove brought in a regulation which removed family holidays from head teachers' discretion and changed special circumstances to exceptional circumstances for other absence. The result, in the words of a government spokesman, is that taking children out of school without permission for a holiday is a criminal offence. And when doing so, parents are risking prosecution, financial penalties, and a criminal record. Clearly not a liberal approach to life. Supporters of the government's line say there is no better place for a child to be than in school during the term. But actually, Conference, not only is life more complicated than this, the ban on term-time holidays utterly ignores and is even contrary to the findings of the government's research on this issue. So what is the evidence for this policy? Well, after Michael Gove attributed the Tottenham riots to an educational underclass, he asked his expert advisor on behaviour for a report on attendance. That advisor was Charlie Taylor, an ex-head teacher and Old Etonian contemporary of David Cameron. In Taylor's 2012 report, it contains no references. He talked to some colleagues, but not apparently to any pupils or parents. I will quote in full his evidence for his recommendation that term-time holiday regulations are strengthened. It reads, "Some parents and schools interpret this, the existing rules, as an automatic entitlement to an annual 2-week term-time holiday." And that's it. Some parents and schools. No stats, no analysis, just some parents and schools. Oddly, Mr. Taylor appears to have overlooked or misread a piece of the government's own research on attendance in 2011. That report shows an undeniable link between attendance and attainment of some nature. But when researchers drilled down into the figures a little, their findings were, and again I quote, "The likelihood of pupils achieving the expected Key Stage 2 level not only differ greatly by the amount of absences accrued, but also by the different reasons behind these absences. The proportion of pupils achieving the expected level stay relatively similar for increasing levels of absence due to authorised family holidays, religious observance and study leave." At Key Stage 2, actually, their charts show a slightly positive link between attainment and authorised family holiday absences of up to about 4%. But why this clear evidence of no detrimental link for authorised absence for family holidays and religious observance has been ignored remains a mystery. The report's findings were borne out by a head teacher in Reading who wrote to a newspaper that in his school, children who went on family holidays in term time outperformed those who did not. Now, why that should be remains to be investigated. But in any event, we are left in the situation where a modern British government has criminalised some of its citizens on the basis of the phrase "some parents and schools," even though its own evidence did not justify the policy. So, Conference, I ask, is it right that on this evidence the Haymores were prosecuted for taking their children to their grandfather's memorial service? Is it right that Stuart Sutherland was fined £1,000 and criminalised for going on holiday at the only time his employer permitted? Is it right that 13-year-old Miss A was refused permission to spend a week with her grandmother before an operation which could have left her wheelchair-bound for the rest of her life? I don't think so. And is it right that the phrase "some parents" has led to over 16,000 being prosecuted, that young carers are being denied respite, children with disabilities have been discriminated against, and that farmers, bus drivers and paramedics, to name but a few, are being denied quantity and quality family time together because they can't choose when to take their holidays? I don't think so. And is it right that Devon and Cornwall lost £87 million from their economy and small tourism businesses around the country are going bust due to the Gove effect? I don't think so. The children who need help most are persistent absentees who are less likely than their higher retaining peers to go on family holidays. So is it right that attendance officers are being distracted from helping these children by these ridiculous cases we're seeing? I don't think so. It's no surprise that it's not just parents who don't like this regulation. The NUT, the Police Federation, the tourism industry, magistrates, the local government association, educational professionals and academics, and Liberty have all expressed concern. The current regulation is deeply offensive to the vast majority of parents who don't make the decision lightly to take their children out of school, but weigh up real-life experience, family well-being and health, as well as academic attainment. As Tim Farron said in the Daily Mail when he backed this motion, it is a fundamental liberal principle of individual choice for parents to spend time with their children. But what we have here is a government which has foregone a collaborative approach to educating our children in favour of the bully stance of do as I say or I will hurt you. It is time government understood that parents and pupils are the user group of our education service. Life is complicated, and if we are to succeed in equipping our young people for a complex future, our education service needs to understand and work with the needs of its user group to evolve the most efficient delivery model it can. To do that, it has to start listening to parents properly and not continue this relentless disengagement of parents from the education system. Conference, the current regulation is leading to gross injustice, is driving a wedge between parents and schools, is socially divisive, it doesn't apply to private school families, and has absolutely no meaningful evidence base. This motion does not ask for a free-for-all attendance, just a return to the situation prior to September 2013, where head teachers could exercise greater discretion. I urge Conference to support the motion. Thank you.
I hold my hands up. I am a very, very, very bad parent. I took my children out early this year, after some of the most difficult months earlier on in the year, for 2 days to take them on holiday. We had an amazing time. It was absolutely fantastic. I fully support this motion, but I'd like to speak about some of the reasons why people find it so difficult to stick to their holidays in term time currently. I live in a rural part of the world. Tourism for us is extremely important, and so is farming. There are families on very, very low incomes in the area that I represent. They can't afford to go away when prices are at their peak. We have families whose parents are dual nationality. I have one parent living in the area I represent who is American and her husband is English. Thanksgiving is an important celebration for her, but doesn't fit in with the UK school holiday timetable. We are often encouraged to remember our roots, but it seems some children will be denied this opportunity under the current scheme. Self-employed people don't get holiday pay and need to work when work comes in. This may not necessarily fit around the school holiday timetable.
This is an issue of Michael Gove against liberalism. I could leave it there, really, couldn't I? But why is this so important? Because actually, in the last Parliament, I went with Karen to see an education minister who will remain nameless. And we made the case that this isn't about a blank cheque. This isn't, we of all parties, every other member of the Liberal Democrats is a retired teacher. Of all the parties, we get the value of education. This isn't anti-education. But what it is about choice and about treating people as adults. It's about letting parents and head teachers have a sensible conversation. And the answer won't always be yes, but it allows for that sensible conversation to happen. And it used to happen. And when we went to see this education minister, he was there with his officials, and they just trotted out, well, absences are bad for educational outcomes. And it was Karen who had to bring the evidence into the room and say, yes, truancy is bad for educational outcomes. But these kind of planned, carefully thought through times when it's necessary to fit with cultural differences, family commitments, and the response was, well, head teachers can still let people off in exceptional circumstances. But it hasn't worked. There have been too many scandalous cases where perfectly good reasons, heart-rending reasons for not being in school have been turned down by head teachers, and as a result they've been criminalised and penalised. That can't be right.